This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody.
Hello,
Something very different today that we're going to experience. And we've talked to these gentlemen before, and they've showed us some projects along the way. Today, we're going to see it in real time. This is very different in terms of glass than anything you've ever experienced before. I'm talking about Prairie Dog Glass, Santa Fe, New Mexico. And joining us is the owner, teacher, manager, Patrick Morrissey, and also
Spooner.
I was just getting to that. I got you there. Marcus, right?
Yeah, Spooner Marcus. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, welcome. How you guys doing?
Good. We're happy to be here today. We're going to be making a heart paperweight with some cremated ashes in them. So we're basically making like a memorial. That's kind of like a little thing that we do a lot of.
Wow.
Yeah. And in our shop, you can actually come here and do that in the class. So people will bring their family and everybody will make something with ashes in it for their own personal memory of that person.
Amazing.
And one of the things we like about it is when you make something with the ashes and you get to take it home, we wonder what we could do to honor the people that die. And one of the things is actually making something in their honor. Like, so the memory cemented by the object and also about your efforts towards that moment, And so that's what we really like doing in classes. But we also, people send us ashes all the time and we make memorials with those as well.
I find it interesting in that it was cremation where somebody's final wishes were honored, and that happened through heat. And now as the memorial is made with this heart, it's also happening through heat, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Kind of interesting full circle there. I have to ask this question. I'm trying to get a visual for this. Can you actually see the ashes within the glass piece? Is it ever possible, or it just kind of meshes in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Some processes aren't, but we make sure that you see the ashes. Like, that's the point, right? But a shot glass does 20 hearts. It takes very little ash to make for the paperweight, because you don't want it to be like a snow globe. The idea is to have the colors and the heart to be like a painted item, and the ashes float on top of it, or inside that.
And that's another question I have. Are they moving? The ashes moving inside the heart?
They're fixed.
They're fixed.
They're fixed. Well, it doesn't matter. I just kind of get a visual for that before we even
do
do.
Sometimes give them a little swirl. We'll swirl them up with the color, and so there's a little movement inside the piece.
Wow, so beautiful. I mean, I've heard of cremated remain pieces and jewelry. Never saw it in action. Never knew even what it looked like. I've heard of it, but I never, actually seen it. So where do we start here?
Okay, so we're gonna give you a shot of the table right here. So these are the ashes. Can you see those guys?
Totally. Yep.
Okay. So as Patrick's gonna go ahead and start the piece, and I'll kind of talk about what's going on as he does it.
Got it.
So he's first gonna grab a pipe or an iron, they call it. He's going to gather a little bit of glass on the end of the stick.
And just to reiterate what I've learned from you before, what he's going into is an oven that's on 24/7 and has basically clear glass. Right. And that's essentially the starting point for all projects?
Exactly, yeah. So
it's the first layer, and we have to touch it because
he has to touch everything.
We can't help ourselves.
So we're making a red heart with red and green?
Yeah.
Red and green heart with the ashes. And so first right here, he's picking up chips of glass to color the clear glass that came out of the furnace.
Gotcha.
So now, he's going to go heat that up and melt that into the surface of the clear glass.
So Spooner, I saw the red pieces of glass, but I also saw something that looked a little whitish. What was that?
Yeah, that was probably the ashes, the little line of white. That's the ashes.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
here's the ashes.
I
Or were
maybe I
you
missed
talking
it.
about on the end of the pipe?
Yeah, on that piece of glass. I mean, I didn't see him roll it in the ashes yet,
Well,
so
he hasn't gotten the ashes yet. He's gonna
right.
melt the color in first and then come back and get the ash. So right
Gotcha.
now he's gonna come in and get the ash on there.
So
You
I,
just
I
do
put
it.
the ash between the colors. So
Wow.
it's red on one side, green on the other, and I put the ash like in segments. Now the ash is funny; it will not melt. So I'll go heat up and make sure it's burnt out clean, and then I'll end up going into a mold and making a shape.
Are you gonna go into a mold?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So he's gonna heat this up, heat the piece of glass up, and stuff it into what we call an optic mold. And that's gonna give it a few like ridges. And what that does is it'll create a pattern in the color of the glass. So that's one way to get like patterning inside the glass.
Wow. Now, you don't have to use the mold. Could you ever, for some things, could you ever do um could you do a heart freeform?
Oh yeah, we're gonna freehand. We're gonna shape the heart freehand. Yes.
So right now, before I go in the mold, I'm gonna slowly twist it, just to spiral it around, not too much. And so you can see some of the ash comes up, and I'll just push that back into the pile.
You're gonna gather on that.
I'm gonna mold and have it.
Okay. So see how he's slowly improving the shape and the pattern of the piece before he puts the next layer of glass on. So he's going to manipulate the glass to where he wants it, and then he's going to put more clear glass on top of that layer. So it's all layers.
Are you looking at red and green for the holidays? Any special reason?
You know, I think those were the colors that were out, and so he maybe he's making it for one of his relatives. The ashes here is his nephew, so
Yes.
maybe he'll send it off to one of his relatives.
Gotcha. What's he doing now?
So he's creating a what's called a jack line, and I think he's going to gather over that.
Yeah, make a nice mushroom shape. So this part of the piece won't be part of the piece, just the end one. But what we're looking for is like sort of like a flower shape on the inside of the heart. So this is how I get there.
Yeah, it'll kind of create a little floral shape on the inside of the heart when he does that. So now he's going to go and gather up a little bit more glass. So it's really amazing, like how much, like the colored glass. Well, the addition of clear glass it brings a lot of life into the piece, just because there's a lot more light coming into the piece. So you'll see now he's going to shape it with what we're calling a. This is just newspaper that's been folded up and wetted, and you can shape it with your hands just like that. So that's basically the closest you can get to touching the glass. So now he's just creating what we call a jack line.
Now, is that kind of the cut line?
Say that again.
Is that sort of like the cut line to cut it off from there?
Yeah, the jack line is a constriction where later when we're finished with the piece, we're going to tap the pipe and it'll actually break off the pipe instead of like getting cut.
And I saw somebody do that last time we got together. There was
Right.
a woman that was doing a class, and that line was put in there, and it was kind of amazing where it's like tap, 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 and it just comes right off. What's the temperature of the oven that he's working with right now?
So the furnaces run at about 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, give or take 100 degrees. Sometimes it's a little cooler, sometimes it's a little warmer, like 2,100 degrees. But The furnace, that's about the temperature the furnace is on. It's about 2000. Yeah. So you see the heart just take
Oh my
shape just like
gosh.
that. So you see how very quickly you have to work because there's only so much heat inside the piece of glass. So you get like just a few seconds to work with the piece. So your moves have to be very concise.
Mm. Now, let's say he's moving along there and he's just not feeling the shape of the heart. Can you just melt it up and do it again?
Uh-huh. So you see,
So
it's just letting it cool
so
down.
it'll slow down, and I can stop turning it. I have right now. It's still so warm. I have to keep turning.
But if you see all the little white things in there, that's the ash. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, I can see that. That's amazing.
And so it's not everywhere, but it's in a good portion of it. And now that it's under glass, it's permanently in there.
Now, the one thing, and again, we're looking at it, from a camera and zoom and all of that. I don't see the green. Where is the green?
Oh, so the colors change once they get hot, but then when they when they cool down again, they go back to the original color they were most of the time. Sometimes they change and then stay that way too, but it just depends on what metals are inside the color.
You know what, Spooner? That makes perfect sense. And I can't believe I didn't think of that because if you look on the table in the foreground, we started with cool red, the temperature wise. It was cool right there in front of
Right.
us. So I would imagine
So now-
we'll go back to that.
So now you see how he just tapped it off onto the table here.
Yeah.
He's going to take the torch and torch it and kind of flatten this area out because that's the back side of the heart.
Yep.
So this torch runs on oxygen and propane.
Wow.
You'll see that just flattened out where he broke it off.
Sure.
So now what's happening is that he's going to grab some tongs and he's going to go put it inside of a kiln where it's going to cool off overnight. So going to pick it up like this, man. Going to put it on a paddle.
Any way that we could see that for a split second before you drop it in the kiln?
Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Now, I see the shape. I don't see the colors, but obviously.
Right. The
we
colors
will.
are going to come when it goes down below about 600 degrees.
Got it.
So right now it's about 1,000 degrees. So what happens now, if you get this, the process that it has to go through right now is called annealing. And so with the annealing process, you want the glass to shrink evenly. And right now that piece of glass is different temperatures all over the place. Mostly it's hotter in the core and it's cooler on the outside, right? So when we put it into that kiln, the temperature equalizes. It becomes one temperature. And then after the day's ended, we'd start to bring that temperature down very slowly. Therefore, it's cooling very evenly and shrinking very evenly. If we didn't do that, it would shrink at different rates and crack.
Just amazing. And when we first started here today, look at me using the word we. I'm not doing anything. You guys are doing all the work. I thought you had said it would go into a mold, and I know that's how you do it sometimes.
So here you go. This is what they put the ashes in when they bring for their husband's ashes.
This is the husband's ashes.
Interesting
This one
shape.
doesn't have ashes in, but it could.
It's a finial.
It's a or a lamp part, right?
Yeah, we call them lamp parts.
Yeah. Or one of our favorite one was Star Trek, where
Mm,
no man has gone before.
understood. And that better be very durable glass. Just saying.
Yeah,
It
Wow.
really is. It's real durable. Matter of fact, that's the funny part. In this shape, I mean, you literally can hit it with a hammer, and try to break it. I mean, I do mean try, because in the round, glass is extremely strong. You know what I mean? So
also when it gets more than about an inch thick, it's basically bulletproof. You could shoot it and it would make a bullseye, but it wouldn't shatter. you know,
Wow. Okay. I would never think that. I would think looking at that, you'd have a very delicate piece. Not saying you do this. If you were to drop this on the floor right now, nothing would happen, or would it
so
shatter?
that's different. That's vibration. So if
Ah,
you drop it, it's moving like this
I
as opposed
gotcha.
to impact. You see
Got
what I
it.
mean? And it
Totally.
all has to do with vibration.
Yeah. And like when we were young, you and me, we would go into the banks and they would have that 1 inch plate glass in front of the tellers. And that's because that was considered bulletproof. It would take 2 shots to go through it. The first one would hit, and then the next one could break it. Right. Yeah, but
Interesting.
it would handle 1 shot. Yeah.
And is the of that piece, there's different sections of that piece. Is it, does that compromise the strength of it? Look at the end, call it the handle. What you
No,
got
it's
going.
actually all one piece of glass. This is just sculpted shaped. So we take this tool right here to make these grooves. All of these grooves are with this tool called the jacks. So jacking there, jack line there, and jack line right here.
Yeah. So
And
it's
it's all
never
just
it was
yeah.
never pieces. It was always one to begin with.
right. It's all one piece of glass.
Do you work on some things where you build one piece and then you add another piece to it and fuse the two together?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I at school I made a purse the other day. So the girl fused in flat glass fused the pattern for the purse. So 2 sheets, and then I blew a piece and picked up both sides. So I had like a turquoise green purse, but then we had her patterns on the side of the purse,
Wow.
which was glass that was made in advance.
So, question to both of you separately, though. What was the last, in your mind, kind of cool thing that you made that you freeformed?
Well, boy, I mean, everything like just kind of like one of kind of thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
just something.
a lot of the art that I make is based on pottery, like traditional Pueblo pottery, and so those are really fun shapes to make for me. Yeah,
Gotcha. Huh. And
yeah.
what about you, Patrick?
I think he's gonna grab an example.
Oh, cool. I love seeing this is like
Oh,
super cool.
he's got the book. You could show him the cover. It's probably easier to see.
Yeah.
So he's going to show you a book. This book was written for a show that's going around the country right now, featuring all Native American glass artists. So I grew up on a reservation in northern New Mexico,
Uh-huh.
and this is one of my pieces that I made. A lot of my pieces, like I said, are they've got this kind of pottery kind of feel to them. It's very
Sure.
ceramic.
Yeah, it was at the Prairie Museum like a month or so ago, right?
Yeah, I think right now it's at the Museum of the American Indian in New York.
Wow. Oh, how does that make you feel that it's on display around the country?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Well, it's a group. It's a group show. This book has like at least 20 artists in it, and so like there's examples from the Northwest Coast, Pueblo glass. All over America. There's different tribes that have used, are starting to use glass or have used glass to make art.
Right. So it's called Clearly Indigenous.
Yeah, the name of the show, if you want to look it up, is Clearly Indigenous.
And Spooner also sells at Blue Rain Gallery here in town, which is a Native American gallery.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
That is absolutely cool. Let's dispel some myths that people have about glass making. Anything stand out for you that you hear a lot of times when people walk in, or let's say you're doing a class or a demonstration and you'll hear something?
I mean, a lot of people really like functional pieces, cups, bowls, pitchers, that kind of thing. But then you get people that love flowers and hearts, and it just depends on the person.
Yeah, skulls is the big one.
Yeah.
We have a skull mold where people make skulls. And then like this earlier this week, we had like a 5-year-old in here, and he was autistic, and he couldn't really even speak. So all he was doing was like, bub, 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 bub. And then, of course, he had an AC/DC T-shirt on. So
Nice.
we put on Hell's Bells. And
Did you make a bell?
no, but we made a skull, and we made 3 chilies.
Okay.
And again, like I said, in that case, he wasn't really able to speak. He would just make noise. So, but he had a great time. We did all that, and like I don't know, 25 minutes. You know,
Wow.
and the fact that we had somebody with autism working for 25 minutes at the age of 5,
Oh my gosh.
that's like amazing, you know. But glass has that ability to jump through disabilities and just get them to focus. Usually it's only 15 minutes or 10. In this case, the kid made a piece, then left, then came back. And then when he came back the next time, he was ready for a lot more. You know what I mean? But he definitely needed to leave and then get fresh air, you know. And so, and with all people with disabilities, we just read them as we go. You know, we don't, there's not much to know other than, oh, that's not working, go that way, you know.
Yeah. Hey, listen, any 5-year-old to keep their attention for even half the time.
Yeah.
It's just like, that's amazing.
True.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you know what? What you create there is not just glass pieces. It's an experience that people have. Like I've
Yes.
seen different things before, but never quite like where the curtains are peeled back and just the inside workings of this. Even the one oven there that's on 24/7. I had no idea. I'm sure everybody doesn't know that that thing's running all the time. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. We really do like it a lot. They just got some stuff. Um, so what we do is we don't actually teach people um, uh, each and every step. What we do is we let them experience the making of the piece, and they get to help through the whole thing. But as you said, it's an experience, right? It's not actually, now do this, now do that.
Yep.
We just glide through it at the rate we go, and then that actually teaches them the most.
Do you feel, and both of you, you've been doing this for years, but do you have this feeling, or do you still have this feeling that when you're in the studio there, essentially anything is possible? Like you could, like sky's the limit. Do you still have that excitement?
It's so much fun. It's crazy.
After what, 40 years?
Yeah, 46.
I'm working on 30.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. But you still feel it though, like when you're.
Oh yeah. Well, you're bringing in people, and you're part of their experience each
Sure.
and every time. And if you play it right, they blossom right in front of you. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that's the whole idea. It isn't like, oh, another person, oh, this, we make them have fun.
I can tell when somebody walks in and they're new at it that they're either gonna like it and be like addicted like that, or they're gonna just be like, they're gonna freeze in front of the fire. You can there's a certain archetype that is just gonna be,
But for you
it's gonna
both
be something.
personally, not like, not working on somebody's passion or experience, when you're ready to just, go into I forget the glory hole there with the pure glass is the starting point. Do you get that like jacked up feeling like, yeah, I'm gonna make this, or I could make this, or I could make that? Like this literally the sky's the limit in terms of what
Right.
you can.
That's one of the things that really intrigued me when I first started blowing glass was the ability to experiment with different things, techniques, materials, because it's so, it's so finicky. Usually it's not going to work, but then
Yeah.
you have, 1 out of 10 times it does work, whatever you're trying to do. And that's just a big, that's a really good feeling to have, and then you do that enough times and you build up all this, like, it's like tools in the toolbox, what you get.
And it's funny to watch that liquid really, where you start to count on it to be a liquid. Like you're literally counting on that, which in a building format, that's kind of scary, right? I'm going to make something straight, but for right now, I'm going to turn it to a liquid, and then it'll come straight later.
Yeah.
You know,
We're out of
like
time.
painting or sculpting or anything. You're making something out of nothing.
Final question.
Wow.
Final question. We're out of time, but I got to ask this question, both of you. Ashes. We infused in glass today. What's the most unusual object that you put inside glass? Anything that you've come to memory right now?
Oh, I use a lot of mica in my glass, so mica flakes. So that goes with the pottery kind of tradition
Sure.
that, like in my pueblo, we use a lot of micaceous pottery, and so just add the addition of mica to the glass is a pretty cool thing. It actually worked, and Actually, I was at the Met in New York once, and I saw examples of German marbles that had mica in them. So I was like, oh, so this is a thing. So mica. What else? Oh, copper. You can put copper in glass.
Silver.
It has to shrink with the glass as it cools. Whatever material you put in there has to be able to shrink with the glass as the glass cools. Okay. So the glass shrinks at almost 1% as it cools down. So it'll shrink by almost 1%. And whatever you put in there has to shrink with the glass. So you can't just put like rocks. Or,
Just
you know.
what a game changer. That answered that question, because I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, different objects. Let's say somebody's dad was a police officer and you put a metal whistle in there. Wouldn't work because it can't shrink.
If it was copper, maybe. If it was copper.
Yes,
Copper
pliable.
and silver, you can get away with copper.
Or we could stamp it and make a stamp, make a ghost of it,
Right.
Gotcha.
That's a lot of what we like doing.
Gotcha. This is fascinating. Guys, this is like amazing.
I did this one piece where I took the mice skeleton and I put them down, and I actually made a copper trap, and I put the skeleton and I poured glass over it. So the skeleton disappeared, but the shadow of the mouse was left trapped in the copper trap. Yeah.
So cool.
It's like a ghost.
So but I keep thinking about ringing around the rosies though. That's one of my new ones. The mice in a circle.
Yep.
Ashes all fall down.
Right. So amazing. PrairieDogGlass.com. We're talking Santa Fe, New Mexico. And you got to go there to experience this. But I'm sure, if somebody's got questions or they want to buy something or have you make a special piece, they can reach out.
Find us at Prairie Dog Glass on Instagram. That's
got it. Patrick Spooner, thank you for today. Just beyond words, like super cool, even seeing how that was done. And like in 12 minutes. It's just amazing. Yeah. I appreciate it. We'll get together soon. Okay.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.